Alright guys, welcome back to Patreon requests, and this one comes from Bill McLaughlin, who asked me to do basically talk about like what I do for a reboot of Stormhawks. As always, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, hit the 3rd tier. That'll allow you access to not only send me requests for videos to do here on YouTube, but also allow you to check out all the other videos on Patreon as well. I've got a Q&A prelude going on right now for Tenchi Muyo, so if you want to be part of that, just hit the link below, head on over there. That'll allow you access to do so. But yeah, anyway, let's get started with the video. So, how would I reboot Stormhawks? That's kind of a big question. I think what I'd like to do is kind of better solidify Aerrow's origin. I think that'd be the first thing I'd like to do, is like, because here's the thing, they never like the Stormhawks show never really like talked about like they said he was the last living descendant. They never really said anything more than that, and I'm like, well, how does that even work? Like, how does that work? Like, you're the last living descendant of the original Stormhawks, but like in what capacity? You can't be the descendant of all of them. So, I think what I would do first and foremost is establish that he is Lightning Strike's son. At the very least, he is the son that was hidden. Like, have it that he was basically, after the fall of the original Stormhawks, Aerrow was hidden away, and we'll get into that because you might, if you've been here long enough, you might know where I'm going with this, but we'll talk about that later. Basically, have it that Aerrow was kept hidden from the other, because basically, the Master Cyclonus at the time, our Cyclonus's grandmother, was at the point of, hey, I cannot afford to have the Stormhawks back. They were a major rallying force of the Atmosians. I need to hunt down and Order 66 the shit out of any other remnants of the Stormhawk, like any members of the family. And even have it that the other members of the original Stormhawks had families and they were all wiped out, but Aerrow was kept safe and hidden on Atmosia. Basically, like, hidden there, raised there, things like that. So that's what I'd like to do, is actually, like, talk about the, yeah, he's Lightning's father. There's no, like, descendant or anything like that. He is the legit, like, son. He is the heir to the Stormhawks name. So I would play with that. I'd also, the other thing I would really talk about is how bad the Atmosians are losing the war with the Cyclonians. Because we never really, like, we got mentions here and there of, like, how strong their army was. Like, we've heard of, like, they took over Terras and whatnot. Like, they have, you know, conquered entire areas. But the thing of it is, like, we never got to see it. So I'd actually, like, showcase, like, how bad the war has gotten. Like, how bad it's not, I wouldn't say, like, their backs are up against the wall, but it is definitely, like, a losing game. They are essentially in the midst of a, massive war that they are now. It's not like we're like this close from absolutely losing the war. It's more like we have lost a lot of ground. And also showcase, you know, the Cyclonians, like, how much more Terras they've taken from Atmosia, and even have it that, like, even the Stormhawks and the other Sky Knights are feeling like this whole thing of, wow, this feels insurmountable. Like, we fight them and we keep losing. Kind of like, I guess the best way to describe, like, how like the situation and how it looks is kind of, and I can't I know some people are sick of me talking about Warhammer so much, but kind of talk about, like, kind of mention it like how the Imperium was for a good amount of time before the fall of like, basically we are in the midst of Abaddon's 13th Black Crusade, and Cadia is falling. Like, that Cadia is at war, and now Aerrow, I guess, is our Reboot Gilliman. Like, the Imperium is the Atmosian free Terras are essentially, like, they are being attacked by, you know, they are just under siege, and now we're breaking here. But the Stormhawks broke before the Terra broke before the Stormhawks did. And again, like, Aerrow's our Reboot Guilliman. I guess that would make Stork Belisarius Cull, but I'm getting ahead. But I'm that's too much. That's a whole other thing. Anyway, so as for actually, let's talk about like the Stormhawks themselves. I think I would talk about like where they came from, like where like I know they've all been orphaned, and I would have it that like they were brought in as Sky Knights. And they all came from different walks of life. Like, I think I'd have it that Piper's origin was that she was raised by a race of being like I was, and I'll do this as Stormhawks headcanon someday. But basically, like, her whole thing is that she was raised by a race of beings who are like bat-like in origin, and they were like these masters of crystals because they lived underground. Like, they lived underground, surrounded by crystals. So they were like these master crystal mages. We do know enough about Junko to be like, all right, we don't need to change anything there. Stork, I would have kind of like I think I would give Stork not only like a master pilot, but I think he would also be like a great engineer as well. Like, I kind of give him like, I still wouldn't change anything with his personality, but definitely have it that he is also an excellent engineer as well. Finn, I would actually talk about like how good, why he's so good with the crossbow. Talk about like where he got his training from, something like that. Yeah. So let's talk about the Cyclonians themselves. I would definitely have the Cyclonian Empire, like I said, is overwhelming. Like, it is basically like the 13th Black Crusade going on. And I would probably have that Cyclonus is still the cruel and conniving leader, but I would also have that she also has this whole thing of like, I'm well aware that everyone's going to try to stab me in the back. Like, I am more than well aware that everyone I have encountered is going to try to come at me in some capacity or another. So she always has like countermeasures or things in place, like things like that. I think I would also have that Dark Ace. It wasn't like, I wouldn't have like, oh, you know, in this reboot I'd have like he was more conflicted about betraying everyone. It's like, nope, I'm totally have that he was totally fine with it. Like, he basically was seen as like just a, you know, just the kid, like just the rookie. And in turn, I would actually have that that Dark Ace always was power hungry, and Lightning was trying to like steer him away from it. Like, basically like see that he was a Cyclonian citizen that they liberated from a Cyclonian controlled Terra, and Lightning basically tried to rehabilitate him, but that didn't take. So yeah. As for the Raptors, I would definitely have that the Raptors aren't like in this reboot. I would have that the Raptors aren't connected with Cyclonia. They are basically their own faction. Like, they aren't allied with them. And actually, I would have that the Raptors are actually more powerful. Like, I wouldn't say like they're as strong as the Cyclonians, but they can definitely hold their own and have several Terras under their name. Like, have like we're gonna go back to Warhammer real quick, but basically the Raptors are like the orcs, where they and Repton is Gazgathal, where he basically is united. Because I would have it that in this continuity, that in this reboot, that there are other Raptor tribes and other Raptor species. Like, a lot of the some look more like frilled lizards because they live in like a tropical jungle. They're more like chameleon-like. I'd have others who are more like, they look like albino lizards because they live underground in Terras, but they're all warriors. They all come from various warrior tribes, and Repton has more or less united all these tribes and are now like going on their own crusade to take over the Terras as well. So they wouldn't be allied with the Cyclonians. They would be their own faction, and also at war with Cyclonia and the Stormhawks. Again, going back to, like I said, they'd be the orcs, but not as like they wouldn't be like, oh, we're gonna have a proper crumpin' boys. It's gonna be like, we're here to eat you. Like we're gonna find you, we're gonna cook you, and then we're gonna eat you. Yeah. So the other thing I think I would do, and again, if you've been around on this channel long enough, you probably know where I'm going with this, is that I would have that the big reason why Aerrow was hidden on Atmosia and why he was kept away from from the Cyclonian so much is because in this continuity, he is Cyclonus' sister. He is Lark's brother. Excuse me. He is. Why'd I say sister twice? He's Lark. I would actually use that fake identity as, Master Cyclonus' real name, but he is Lark's brother, and he is the heir to he is the prince of the Cyclonian Empire. Because what I would have is that Lightning got it on with again, this is Lark's grandmother, who was Master Cyclonus. He was actually having a secret affair with the Princess of Cyclonia. They had twins, and they had to split them up. Like they had they basically if they could, because basically the grandmother was like, we can't have twins. Yeah, she found out about it, and she's already pissed off that her daughter was having an affair with a Sky Knight, no less. But the other thing is, the mother dies in childbirth, and she actually was the one who handed Aerrow to Lightning, and basically saying consider this my only act of kindness on my daughter's behalf, and also I can't afford to have twins as heirs, because if there's twins, they're both going to try to have a right to the throne. So I can't afford to have a civil war happen in Cyclonia. I can't have my legacy, my grandchildren's at war in a civil war with each other. So you take the boy. That's consider that you're my daughter's last great gift to you, and I'm going to keep the daughter. So there you go. So Aerrow, that would be kind of a big thing. And also, again, this is kind of inspired by Andros and Astronema from Power Rangers in Space. A lot of that did come from that. I think this would be kind of also a big thing for Aerrow when he discovers it, because I would have that the person who kind of orchestrated all this to split them up was Argaian. Argaian was the one who basically was like, hey, I'm the one who I'm the one who saved you and hid you on Atmosia, and I've been basically watching over you your whole life. Because you are the Prince of Cyclonia, and that's gonna I would have that affect Aerrow in that everything I've done, I've basically been at war with my own family and my own sister, and when Lark finds out, because he's gonna have to be the one to tell her, she's not gonna believe it. So it would definitely be a later season thing. This would be a season 2 reveal. This would be a definite season 2 finale reveal if we got that far. And talk about that and deal with that the whole 3rd season. But yeah, there's so much to do with this. I would also have, real quick, of talking about my girl Starling. I would definitely have Starling. She is not. She still does. The interceptors are gone, and she's basically. Though she would be kind of like the Yarick to. Repton's Gaz, where she's the only one taking the because yeah, the interceptors got wiped out by Repton and the other Raptors, and Starling is you guys aren't taking it seriously. I know we're all at war with Cyclonia, and that's bad, but the Raptor threat, Repton's crusade is just as bad. We need to worry about them. So that would be so she would be the one who would be, who understands the real threat of how bad the Raptor situation is. So yeah, there you go. I could go on and on about this, but I don't want to make the video too long. So you guys tell me in the comments below, What do you guys think of this Stormhawk's reboot idea? You guys let me know in the comments below what your reboot ideas would be. And once again, I'd like to thank Bill McLaughlin for this Patreon request. And like I said, if you want to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over there, hit the 3rd tier. And other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.